Hi, it's me again with CorelDraw tips and tricks, and I'd like to make a statement before I start this. Don't try this at home. No, just kidding. He's trying to make a 47 by 20 inch, 23 inch sign with only a 24 by 12 laser bit. And I'm sorry I said only. That's a good sized laser bit. I mean, even my machine couldn't run this because it's only 40 inches wide. So he needs, and I've done jobs where I've broken stuff up before. So first of all, I'm going to change your duplicate distance to 0, 0, because that could come into play. I'm going to change your to red and a hairline, just because I like drawing in hairline. And I think everything else is okay. Now, it's 47 inches. Divided by 4 is 11.75. So I'm going to take a 2-point line and go from that node to that node. And I'm going to move it over 11.75. And then I'm going to Control D. Now we have 4 equal parts. Now, in a perfect world, it'd be nice to move this M over and the E over, but you start doing that, what are you going to do about this H? So let's just deal with it. Now, let's change our nudge factor to, this is 23, let's make it 30. And I'm going to Control D, and I don't need 4 of these. Control D, Control D. Okay. We have 4 copies of the exact same thing. And the reason I separate them so I can use the virtual segment delete key. I'm going to take the virtual segment delete key and delete everything on this side of the line. I'm going to take everything and now delete everything on this side of the line and delete everything on this side of the line. Now I've got some leftovers, but we're pretty good. I'm going to delete that, delete that, delete that. And my question is, I guess, is when I've done this before, I've never had to match up letters like this perfectly. My question is, if you run this on your laser bed, is it going to laser right to the edge? You know, if my laser won't cut on the edge, will it laser right up to the edge? And maybe because we're, you know, we have a little play, maybe it can work, that you could play with that. For the one I'm doing this for, I would definitely try it. I would maybe test it on a scrap piece of wood, and your wood's going to need to be. See, it'd be nice if that was all one piece. Now, if something like this happens up right there, well, I got too close on that one, but sometimes you're going to lose like part of the letter like we just did for George or whatever that is. Because I think we're going to lose that. So what you could do is left click, you got to select. When you're going to have to go and ungroup it. I should have ungrouped from the very start. Left click, right click, and then just take your Smart Fill tool and fill that section in. And then you can take those lines away. So I'm not going to do all 4. I've done 3. I think you get the idea. Then I'm going to remove the red line. Now there might be another way to do this, but because this is going to take a little bit of time. But what I was saying, I would test this on a scrap piece of wood and maybe, you know, just to see if it is going to. So let's do this. Let's say, and see, I don't know if that line is just the line of the Control G. I'm grouping them together. I don't know if that line is just what he wants to get or he wants to engrave that. So now we have our 4 sections. Well, before I should have done this. I should have nudged them up. See what they look like. I don't see anything missing. So if you had all 4 of them, let's nudge them down. Let's change our laser bed to the size of his laser bed. 24 by 12. I was hit on the 24 by 12. Now here's going to be the key. I would rotate this 270 degrees. And then I would hit P and put it in the center of the page. Now, this is where it's going to help. This one's going to be perfect. That should engrave perfectly. And then I would always nudge stuff up. Let's rotate this 270 degrees and put it in the center of the page. It would be a lot better if you didn't have to engrave those lines. This is going to work, I think. No, it's not. You're going to have to put this next one. Well, you can do 2 things. You could figure out what this dimension is and set your board in from your edge. But if the laser will, and you don't want to manually move anything, you need to figure out what this distance is. And this is going to be a little difficult, even with the parallel dimension tool, because you don't really have an edge. And I don't know if that line is going to, because the, let's go up here and ungroup that. Go up here and break the curve apart, let's say, go up here and convert the outline to an object. Then we can use the parallel dimension tool to go from that midpoint. So we're only 0.09 away, and you could I'd maybe make more decimals. 0.888, okay? Let's take that away and change your nudge factor to 0.0888. Now, take this and nudge it up that distance. That should work perfectly if your laser will laser right to that line. You know, one thing you could do, we could have left the red dot, we could have read our hairlines on there, and you could nudge the board down just a little bit and then run your red line and see if it's not on the edge of that. Now, the biggest thing is your boards are going to have to be square when you cut them to get this all to match up. And then it's going to be a little risky business gluing them together, unless you can just butt them up and put them on a backer board. There might be another way to do it, but I think this might be the best. I hope that helped. Thank you for watching.